about it. Why? I want to tell you that we are still not out of the woods yet. And you can see from, now this is no, this is not the table I want you to look at. I will come to it. This, I was just showing, this table, sorry, the table that I've just passed. Anyway, I'll not go back to it. Oh, it is back. This table is just showing you the aggregate numbers of our budget for this year compared to last year. And the deficit is at 4.7%. The table I wanted to show you will come later. I have just demonstrated in terms of sectors. Look at what the percentage of our budget education is taking, 27.6%. But it is still not enough. Capitation is not enough. So it means we have to find ways of making sure we get more resources to finance critical areas. You can see 27% going to education. The second one is public administration and internal relations at 12%. No, there is 21% for energy infrastructure and ICT, and then you can see the others there. These are just numbers. Let me pass the numbers. Let me just go through these numbers. You have them, members of parliament. So I wanted to talk about the shrinking fiscal space. If you check 2010, 2011, we were only collecting 609 billion shillings. You may look at that figure, compare it to what we are collecting today, which is 2,420,000,000, and you think it is kidogo. However, in terms of GDP, we were collecting 17.7% of GDP in terms of ordinary revenue taxes. Today, we are collecting about 12%, 14%. Actually, it is 14%. This percentage is 14. I have shown there just the change in percentage. But the next slide will show you that from 2010, it was 17.2% what we are collecting in terms of revenue or ordinary revenue to GDP. Now we are collecting only 14.3%. That means there's something about our revenue collection. What is happening? How come the economy is growing, but we are collecting less and less as a percentage of that GDP? I hope I'm communicating. I don't want to make it too technical. I want to make it as simple as possible. Now, this is the table that I'd earlier indicated thought we had reached. This is a table that you need to pay keen interest in. In 2013, 2014, maybe I can take one of this. In 20, I hope this will still be captured by the mics. In 2013, 2014, look at consolidated fund services. That is interest payments and pensions. We were paying only 16.4% of ordinary revenue. As a percentage of ordinary revenue was going to consolidated fund services. Today, last financial year, it was at 50% of ordinary revenue. And this year, we are going to spend 48.5%. That's the reality. But look at development budget, which is funded from our domestic taxes. 20.8% in 2013, it has come down to 9.2% today. Meaning now for us to develop as a country, we are largely depending on borrowing. We are not funding our budget, our development budget from our domestic revenue. And that is not healthy. Over-reliance on external financing for development of a country is dangerous. So we must do something to reverse this trend. You can see how it has been, the development budget going down, coming down to 8.8 last year. You can use the excuse of what happened last year, but the trend is not very different, even the previous year and this year. So we must reverse that trend. Something else, recurrent expenditure, no much change. You can see recurrent is not growing so much, although the county equitable share that is going, the ordinary revenue that is going to counties is shrinking as a percentage. And as a party that stands for devolution, that is also something that should worry us. We were spending 20% in 2013, and are now spending less than 15% of ordinary revenue to support our county government. I hope I'm communicating. Yes. Then this just shows you the same thing that I've talked about. Trend of recurrent spending takes the lion's share of total expenditure. You can see the recurrent expenditure. You can claim that, well, the recurrent expenditure here was 18%. It is at 16% here. But development is not doing better. It's actually doing worse. 6.8, and you come to 3.4. So, and then the county equitable share is taking a percentage, and that is something that we need to look at. Again, this is a repeat of what I've talked about. I don't want to spend much time there. So I've just indicated what we may need to do. That one I don't want to bore you with. That is my work. I will come back to this slide 5.3. And the reforms. So this is the primary surplus. This is what we are doing at the Treasury with the primary surplus. What is primary surplus? Primary surplus is total revenue minus expenditure, excluding interest paid on loans. So you remove the interest that you pay on loans, the remaining expenditure you subtract from your revenue. That figure should be a surplus. That is when you can manage your debt. But we have been having deficits all through. You can claim that the deficit has been shrinking, but it has been there. But now you can see the policies that were put in place in 2025-26, we are going to have a primary surplus. If we maintain the fiscal discipline, we will have a primary surplus. This is the debt to GDP. You can see it has been rising steadily, very fast, to 68.7. Now is when it started coming down. I want to say something about this table, then I combine it with the next one. You can see this is debt maturity or redemption profile. Look at where we are. In fact, just allow me to quickly move there so that I can explain something. Sorry, I'll keep you, yeah, I'm there. So, you know we have different debts. If you want to manage debts, you have to first profile the debts and see the most expensive, and those are the ones you start with. Now, we have 4 categories of debt. We have the cheapest debts, which are called multilateral. Those are the cheapest. Then we have bilateral debts. Then we have international sovereign bond. And then we have commercial bank debts. This is only external debt. I've not discussed with you the domestic debt. Now, this is maturity. These are debts that we must pay in these years. You can see for this year, we will pay a total of 2.64 billion US dollars. The following year, it is 22.24 billion, then 2.906, then 2.525, then 3.328, and like that. Now, this year, if I can put a ceiling here, 2030, 2031, and 2027, 28, there is something that happened here. The COVID. This is COVID period loans. We took loan here, especially from the multilaterals. And those loans were short-term loans, but they there were soft loans with no interest, but they are now coming for maturity. They have to be paid. So this is what is happening here. Whoever will lead this country around this time must be aware of this challenge, including ODM. You must be aware of this challenge. Now, here, so multilaterals this year, this financial year, we are paying $609 million. Bilateral, we are paying 871. International sovereign bond, 107. Commercial bank, we are paying 1 billion. In terms of shillings, this year, we are paying 343 billion. That is this figure here. But I am happy for two things, which we have done since I went into office. Number one, if you look at this international sovereign bond of 107, it would have been 300 if we did not manage that liability by spreading it out. So we reduced that. But we targeted commercial debts because they are the most expensive. And I will now maybe move to the next slide. This is just a repeat of that. This is a slide that I want to explain in debt. If you look at the commercial bank, you can see the figures are coming to $1,053 million US dollars for this year. The biggest is Trade and Development Bank, TDB, 748. We had an option to refinance that loan, get money again from them and refinance. But we said no. Why? Because the interest rate on this loan is 11%. And it can go up depending on the interest rates in the US, the Fed interest rates, because it is pegged on that. So we made a decision this month, and we have paid 600 million of this. We have already paid. We are only remaining with 148. And the moment we are done with this, you can see the payment. The moment we are done with this commercial loan, the moment we are done with it, we are reducing our pressure significantly. Number two, we have managed the liability here. You can see how much we are paying on you. This is the Eurobond, if you like. This one. You can see in 2027, 2028 May, we have to pay $1,000 of Eurobond. And then the following year, 500. So what we are doing right now is because the bond yields have come down in the market, and the Kenyan rating has gone up. The yield have come down from over 10% to 8.5. We have decided to liability manage this amount. We are liability managing it at least to 50%. It's still in the market. I don't want to talk about the figures. Lastly, bilateral. Look at the bilateral. Where do you see big figures? China. Out of the 871, China is 515. Redemption. The maturing debt, 515. The next one is US, 123. In fact, US, we are almost clearing with them. After paying their debt for this year, we are done. Now for China, the 515, we have managed to work on a program of conversion. We are working with them on conversion of that debt, and it's working very well. I want to leave it there. It's working very well and saving us close to 28 billion shillings per year. So, in summary, we have a strategy to manage public debt. Our relationship with the IMF, we are starting or getting into another program soon, which now we are going to negotiate, and the conditions we are going to discuss with them so that those conditions are not harmful to the general public, because again, it would be counterproductive. Moody's rating, Fitch rating, S&P, we have gone up in the rating, and that is because, simple, 1, diaspora remittances have been healthy. 3, our exports have been going up. 2, number 3 is the liability management. And you saw in the S&P rating, they said very clearly that our successful liability management for early this year worked well for Kenya, and that has received a better rating. Now, in conclusion, allow me to just say a few things. As we do all this, for us to be able to manage our debt, public debt very well, there are a few options for financing budget. Option number 1 is raise taxes.